people going to think of our new buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
Good morning. This is Brad Atwell, WCOU Sports, on Ask the Coach with Coach Jeff Griffith, head coach at Barron County High School. And, Coach, we're in here this morning after a 55-13 loss last night to Greenwood Gators, and just kind of, I guess, get your rundown of possibly what we saw last night.
Well, it was wet and rainy, and they got a really good football team. We knew that coming in with an outstanding quarterback that runs their offense, and does a great job with it. And we really struggled tackling. Again, it goes back and seems like that's been something that we've, a mantra that we've picked up the last 2 or 3 weeks, that we have struggled with tackling, and it certainly reared its ugly head last night. We also struggled in the kicking game, which is something that we had not done. Our kicking game had been pretty solid up until the last couple of weeks. Gave up a punt return last week, and then last night we gave up a kickoff return and struggled fielding a few kickoffs with our kickoff return. And it was a total breakdown. And when you do those things against good teams, it snowballs on you, and that's why the score got the way it did.
Yeah, they're at the first. Of course, I hadn't got down close to the field yet, and it was raining there last night, and I was just kind of staying back and kind of blocking the rain a little. But, on that opening kickoff, even from where I was at, and of course it's neither here nor there. The game's over with. It is what it is. Those guys out there, I officiate high school ball, so I know what it's like. But when you see a block in the back and a hold, that really and truly opened that up, that could have been called back. But the rest of the night definitely was not in the hands of the officials at all. And just as I sat down this morning, watched some more of Huddle, and just to see kind of, hey, did we have a breakdown? And I don't think I ever really saw just where we didn't have somebody there defensively, because there was always usually somebody there, but a missed tackle or just a block, just not even really a block, just somebody getting in the way, and then you break a 40-50 yard run that just really and truly just breaks your back.
Well, their scheme is really tough to defend. You can defend it on one side and do a pretty good job with it, and they can get you a little bit soft on the other side. And they started running back to their one receiver or tight end side a little bit, and over there it was more of a deal where it was the old proverbial, someone's got to dive, someone's got the quarterback, and someone's got the pitch, and we had guys there, but we'd either get blocked, as you said, sometimes, and sometimes we would just miss tackles, and you can't do that against a team like Greenwood, who has pretty good athletes at all their skill positions, but especially at the quarterback position. And their quarterback is someone, it's not like we're the first team he's done that to. He's done that to everybody they've played, and they've got a good scheme. They're well coached. It's in the third year of Coach Seabolt down there and what he's doing, and they've got a good team. They're 6-1 for a reason.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. They've got a record that shows what kind of football team they are. And, the one game they lost to a good team. They
did, and ironically, when they played South Warren, and South Warren's outstanding, it kind of snowballed on them similarly to what it did to us last night. They had a block punt for a touchdown. They returned a punt for a touchdown, and I think they picked up a fumble maybe and ran it in, and it was 21-0 before you knew it, and that's kind of what happened to us last night. I know we'll get into it here in a little bit, but I thought our offense in a lot of ways was the best we had looked all year last night in the first quarter and a half, first half. So there's some positives out of it, but my goodness, you just can't make the mistakes we made last night and be competitive with a good team.
Yeah. We'll just lead up into offense since you said something about that, because our offense looked a lot better last night than it did week before last at Warren East, when we couldn't get anything going, didn't seem like. And last night, in the first half, we had a total of 32 plays for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that we came out and we were really physical up front. I thought we, made a couple of moves and put Zach Sneed back there just as a change-up, and he's got a little some speed with him and hit the hole a little quicker, and we were still going to be physical when we put Ellis in there. But I thought the change-up in speed was, it was good for us, and I thought our offensive line did a good job and came off the football and got on some people, and of course it created some holes.
I really and truly think that that's probably the best our offensive line has played since Taylor County. Just on film, watching what's going on, getting on their blocks, staying on their blocks. It just seemed like the last 2 or 3 weeks we've really struggled at making a block and staying on it. And I really thought last night our offensive line is what really set the tone for what we were doing.
I agree. I thought that again, we were physical at the point of attack. We were moving our feet, and that's the key to our offense and anyone's offense. I mean, the reason that Greenwood is really good is because their offensive line is pretty good. And, we moved the ball last night because our offensive line was pretty good. The unfortunate thing I think that has hurt us offensively, going back to the Warren East game, is that, we've really played in 2 really wet rain games 2 weeks in a row, and that's really affected our passing game. And neither team that we have played, both East and Greenwood last night, really does a lot with their passing game, whereas, we would utilize our passing game a lot more, and it's just tough to do in those type of conditions.
Yeah, it would have been, well, it was hard to throw the ball last night. I mean, I think we threw it 3 times last night there in the second half, where we actually, completed passes. The first half we threw it 3 times with nothing, and then threw it there in the second half and 3 times for 40 yards. But, the wind's blowing pretty hard, sometimes 20, 25 mile an hour gust, rain. And it's hard to judge a ball when you look up in those lights and it's raining. It's hard to get your hands on it and hold on to it. So, yeah, that's definitely been an issue for us the last couple of weeks. If we go back to the Allen County game, Ty Hayes' first game back and came in and was able to have another weapon on the field where that, okay, if you're going to double team Mabe, then we're going to throw it to 4. And, he did well that night. But since then, we've not been able to utilize that because it's rained the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that affects – a lot of things. It affects the quarterback being able to hold on to the ball and throw it effectively. It affects when we do get it out there. The receivers, like you said, dealing with the lights and the rain and the ball's wet and it's coming at him. And, I guess you could say those are excuses, but those are facts, especially last night. I mean, it was pretty miserable conditions in terms of the wind and the rain last night, and it was going to be tough sledding to throw the football a whole lot. And that's part of our offense. I mean, one of our main weapons is Nick Mabe, and we can't throw him the football in those type of conditions a whole lot. I think he had caught one last night, but hopefully it'll dry out a little bit in a couple of weeks and we can get back to throwing the football around a little bit.
All right, Coach, we're going to take a break here and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be back on Ask the Coach with Coach Jeff Griffith of the Barron County Trojans.